Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser.
I'm Brush and Quill.
I'm Johnny B.
I'm Ken from Miniature Wargaming Warriors.
But together we are
Modelling for
Advantage. Right, take your headphones out, have a breather.
Recover from that. We're having a little bit of a move around tonight, guys. You can probably see the layout. So we can keep all the gingers on the bottom row. You know, you've got to stay safe.
We're happy.
The revolution comes from underneath. Quick whip round
from below.
yeah. Team Clueless Games. Good evening, my friend. Axe and Axis here. Ali, keeping up the Welsh contingent. There's Josh, all the members in tonight. Bob Edwards doing data entry while I listen. Dan being at work. At least you got a job where you can watch YouTube, mate. Sweet. What's Ali got to say? I'm using that trick to apply glue. So one of your videos. If you don't know, Axe and Axis does have a modeling channel. He does a lot of live shows. Friends of General Haig. Ahoy there, matey. Subcommandante with the Mr. T thumbnail. Tonight's topic: how many snotlings can you balance on Thrud the Barbarian figure? Well, he's got a very tiny head, so not many, I'm going to guess.
He's got broad shoulders.
Doing the Baron's War. Boom, all the thumbs. Testing out the emojis. Duncan FX, good to see you. Velt Moreltop is a young man who I actually taught at school some years ago, though. Matt Capelli, good evening, sir. Tech Saint is here. Tony Tiger, good evening, sir. And Matt Foster. All right, so we'll have a quick rip round, see what everybody's doing tonight. I'm being a little bit unorthodox tonight. Maybe some would call it cheating, but I'm actually going to be making army lists because Monday is quite exciting for those of us in Britain, isn't it?
We get to hug.
Yes,
we get to hug, mate.
But we can't kiss.
No, but it's better than that, John. You can have up to 6 people indoors, so we don't have to do dogging in the rain no more. We can do it indoors.
Do it indoors.
Well, I like the rain.
So, Callum, what about you, sir? What are you up to tonight?
I'm painting this cannibalized Victrix Cromwell.
I recognise that. Yeah.
That looks familiar. Is that all you're doing, Callum?
Yeah, I thought I'd go easy tonight.
All right, take it easy. I'm finishing off a Ultramarine Dreadnought. Yes, one of the 3 that I said I would paint for a new year. I've got that, and I've got an old Predator that I'm just putting some red bits on just to make it bling. And that is all. And Mr. Kenneth, surely you're painting, I don't know, some French.
Yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you? But no, tonight I'm starting my ECW project, so I'm working on that, and I've already managed to cut myself with the blade.
Nice.
By scraping mold lines.
What you need to do is get yourself some thicker skin.
Yes.
That helps. That helps.
On tonight's episode of 999, What's Your Emergency?
Yeah.
Anyways, before we continue and go any further, Ken, I need you to answer a question.
Of course.
Now, who is your daddy and what does he do?
Right, so I'm Ken from Miniature Wargaming Warriors, and I run a YouTube channel. And basically, I focus on historical wargaming. I dip my toe in as well into Warhammer Epic, which I am quite a big fan of, that beautiful 6mm goodness. And yeah, you can find a lot of French Napoleonics. I do World War II bolt action. And I'm just starting doing some ECW as well. So yeah, I do like painting tutorials and bits and bobs. So yeah, that's me.
Nice. Very nice.
Very, very nice. So yeah, you mentioned your French there. You mentioned the ECW, the historical. For the past year, you've been obviously primarily a hobbying channel because that's what's available.
Yeah,
just to do. 100%. But I believe you were more of a bat reps in the past.
Yeah, so when I first started, I started with my work colleague Liam, and we started doing bolt action, and we were doing bat reps. So it was bolt action bat reps, and we didn't used to cut the video; we just used to let it go really long. Haven't been able to do one of them for a while, and just because of the whole situation. So it, like you say, it's been a massive change for the channel, and I'm sure we'll be doing some more back reps in the future. So yeah.
And the thing that you haven't mentioned, which probably, certainly from my perspective, you're most well known, is you're a founder member of the Plastic Crack podcast, right?
Yes, I am. Myself and Dom, one of the founding members of the Plastic Crack podcast on a Monday night. So yeah, it's that was quite an interesting start. It was literally, I'd never spoke to Dom before, never known him outside of YouTube, and I just sent him a message one day and said, "Do you fancy doing a stream on a Monday night?" Right. And yeah,
and there it is. So
it begins. So yeah, and now we've got 4 guys doing it. So yeah, loving it.
Yeah, right. Okay. We got ES Taylor joined us. Solvent Abuse UK says, "Sup? Wow, we're doing good here." Gamers with Coffee, nice. Ashley. Hello, Ashley. I think she's nearly finished my Gates of Antares miniatures I showed to watch on their show. Friends of General Hate is a big thumbs up for ECW and Rich John. French Ultramarines. I think that may be a comment that you'll never, ever live down. It's going to be chiseled on your tombstone, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And Wardrobe Todd plays World War II. It's PC Boys, Plastic Crack Boys. If you haven't watched the Plastic Crack podcast on a Monday night, is it 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock, yeah. 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. It's a really good show. It's like this, but more pro, right? The guys have been doing it for a lot longer.
I think it's got to be coming up to probably 18 months now, maybe 2 years. Quite crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it started with you and Dom, and then you got Martin from Seventh Son got involved, and then Steve. Was that how it worked?
Steve, yeah. So me and Dom started it. We just started doing like a hobby hangout on a Monday night, and then we just thought we'd chuck it out there, see if anyone else wanted to come and join. And it's actually Dom, I think, that suggested Martin at the time, and got Martin involved. And then a couple of weeks later, we got Steve involved, and ever since then, we haven't been able to get rid of him.
And he got a nice, because it looked like during the course of the podcast, your kind of attitudes and priorities in gaming shifted. I remember like early on, you were talking about trying to get Dom into playing some orcs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And more recently, you just painted several hundred Frenchmen for Black Powder that you've never played before, right?
Yeah, never played it. So
and you're taking on an English Civil War 28mm ammo, which is going to be another 300-400 figures to get going.
It's going to be crazy. To be honest with you, I do get a lot of time to paint. I get a lot of time to hobby. So when it was Martin, it's always Martin, isn't it? It's always Martin. You can blame him for everything. But I went up and played a game of Black Powder, and I had 1 battalion of French at the time. So I took those, and they were my glory, and I used his, and I just loved the size of the game with all the models, and I was like, I need this.
And the way he sets up his tables, he's got like old carpets that he's painted, big hairy grass, hasn't he?
And he's got teddy bear fur and stuff like that. His tables are nice, and it encouraged me to go out and get one of the Killing Field train mats. So it's a static grass mat, and that's a 6x4. So yeah, it's really nice. Very
nice. Okay, so one of the things that I thought was worth pointing out, we mentioned it just before the show. I don't know what's happened in this past month. Maybe it was the War Games Illustrated article, but it seems that everywhere I look, people have come to the same conclusion that I have in relation to their War Games tables, which is that they need to buy some resin buildings from hovels. Yes. So we've done that. I don't know. Did you guys? There was something on your channel. So was it Dom that was talking about it?
Dom has bought literally the entire set of hovels, I think.
Everything they do.
And to be fair, I was like very tempted to do the exact same thing, and then I looked and saw how much stuff I had and thought I better not, because Laura will kill me.
And where are you going to put it? I think it's become a bigger. It used to be like, I can't afford this. Now it's like, even if I can afford it, what the hell?
Where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? Yeah, because they always take the mickey out of me for selling models, so I don't mind selling models.
You got to move on.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is part of a Celtic village that we've got for SPQR, because you realise when we started talking about SPQR, we didn't really have, this is a little, well, I'd call it a chicken coop, but my long-suffering wife insists it is a hen house.
It's a hen house.
Chicken is something you buy at McDonald's. Hens is something that you keep that lays eggs. So there you go. But we wanted something different. And when you look at the like MDF roundhouses and so forth, Dark Ages and older buildings, they're generally, well, A, they're not round, and B, they're just giving you a bit of coconut matting or something for the roof. And I'm thinking, maybe I do want an old bit of resin for this. And it's just a nice lump in the middle of the board, you know.
Yeah.
I always kind of liked, there's something about, you know, I don't know, when you play a game and you've got like an army of 28mm miniatures in old metal or something, there's a real heft to it. There's something old school and satisfying about it. So I'm quite pleased with these. But what I did realize by looking at Hovell's catalog is it's exactly the same stuff I bought from him 25 years ago. It's the same. Wow. It's the same catalog. It's the same guy. You know, it's just like he's done his bit. He's got his bits, but they hold. They look like they've held the detail quite well. If you can see the front of the building there.
Well, this is what I like about resin. Resin's really good for it, isn't it? Because it holds detail so nicely, and you can get that texture already on there, and it's so quick to do. It's really nice. Yeah,
but it's the quality control that's always the issue with resin. Is they send you stuff that's defective, and it's just not okay. For me, anyway. Just thinking, if I'm looking at this and there's a defect in the sculpt, I feel you shouldn't have sent it to me. And I get quite cross about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's me and Hovell's. You didn't get any then?
No, I haven't bought any, but Dom has.
What did he go for?
Dom's bought the entire village, like the village set they do, the entire thing.
Oh, the medieval village.
No. No, it's a village in France, so it's for Napoleonics. But it's massive. It's like I think there's about 8 or 9 buildings in the set, and these he gave me like this barn thing. It's like this big, and it weighs like 2 and I was like, Jesus, man, that is some good old resin. But I want to get probably they do a La Haison set and they do a Hougoumont set. The Hougoumont set, I'll probably go for that. But when I can, definitely.
I can't remember which is which, but one's basically a single enclosed farm with a few outbuildings. And the other one is like 3 courtyards. It's massive.
It's massive. It's massive. It's a whole table. Table.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Only half the Hovell range. Look, you see, there's Dom. And he probably had it painted before the rest of us would have it unwrapped, right?
Yeah.
I'll be still painted before I'll be still sniffing the resin, and Dom's like, yeah, it's done, mate. Look at that.
Done, yeah. I don't know how he does it.
I think he doesn't speak to his wife and children, essentially. That must be it.
That's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you still only played the one game of Black Powder despite having done all this then?
I've played, how many games of Black Powder I've played? I've played about 3 now. So I've played a couple with Dom, but I wasn't, I hadn't completed everything. So I've not played one with all of my models yet, which I'm looking forward to doing.
Yeah. Well, we've done a bit of practicing because we've been working on this American Civil War. I have been working on the American Civil War 10 mil for quite a while, and we played a couple of practice games. I'm not sure where I am with Black Powder yet because it is designed as a quick play system, and it might be a bit too quick play for a 6 regiment game. I think I'm not sure that there was enough in it. I'm still kind of to see how I feel about that.
Free brigade seems to be the sweet spot.
That's the right number.
Yeah, that's the sweet spot.
It's Nick from Medieval Warrior Wargaming. Nicholas, it's lovely to see you. I didn't think you could make it. I did ask you to be on the show a while ago. If you can join the show at this time, please let us know. I'd love to have you on. I really like the stuff that you do. Hovell's Middle East range of Sterling service and multiple periods. There's something about those Adobe style buildings, aren't they? They it's like Hannibal, yeah, maybe. Certainly right through World War II, still the same. Of course it is. Clearly this didn't change. I think actually that's largely our ignorance. World War II says, "What's up from Texas?" Wow. So may I move on to talk about small scale science fiction, then, gentlemen? You're into epic. I mean, your channel banner is like your massive epic collection. I seem to remember, in all the bright colors and all the big models. I say big. The Titans are like 6 inches tall, aren't they?
Yeah, I've got an Elder Titan on there. Right, that's one of my pride and joys. I do love my Elder Titan. all metal, so it's lovely.
Yeah. And Callum plays that the one that TT Combat, a drop zone commander, is it?
Yeah.
So what's the Callum then? What's the appeal of micro science fiction?
I think
Come back to that.
For me, it was the fact that it's playing science fiction on a battalion level.
Mhm.
You know, you're commanding mixed companies of troops and stuff. You're not doing squad-based stuff, so you can have large armies on a small space around it. And I think if Epic had been around at the time and not the price tag it's got, even with the modern stuff, then we would have gone for that. But it was, right place, right time. It was what we wanted. We can play everything on a 6 foot by 4 foot and have huge battles, opposed to 3 squads per side.
Yeah.
Plus, it takes like 10 minutes to paint a figure.
It's very forgiving painting in that scale. Yeah, absolutely. It's cheaper painting in those smaller scales. Well, I don't know about that, because you need a lot more models. I find a lot more. Probably the reason it has taken me so long to get this 12 mil American Civil War stuff done is just how much painting was involved. Just how long it took to paint at 24 figures a regiment to get 12 regiments painted. It was definitely a lot faster than 28 mil, but it wasn't 3 times as fast. Do you know what I mean? And the number of figures involved, I don't feel that it was that much cheaper in the end to put the amount of troops on the table that looked like an army. But that's
where are we at the moment. We bought 2 boxes at 40 quid a pop. Then you went and got some extra bits, didn't you? Cavalry, artillery, bobs.
Yeah.
So we must be over the 100 mark. And we're about halfway through then, with that comment of three brigades, battalions, whatever. One of them, I will get it right one day.
Yeah. Brigades, yeah.
But I think it does depend on what you mean by small scales and stuff, because like the 6 mil stuff I've been doing, that is ridiculously cheap compared to 28 mil. But then you look at some of the 18 mil, 15, 18 mil stuff, and the price doesn't come out much cheaper.
Yeah. No, the 6 mil Epic stuff, I tend to buy that all second hand, because obviously Games Workshop don't make it anymore.
No. And when they do, it'll be 10 mil to fit with their Adeptus Titanicus.
Yeah, it will be, which will be a very sad day. But
it's that's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
I looked at Adeptus Titanicus, and before it came out, I was like, I've wanted this for so long. And then I saw the model kits had 120 to 150 parts each. I was like, I am never playing that game. No way.
But haven't they pulled a doozy on that again? And it's 8 mil, not 10 mil, or something ridiculous. I feel I read that somewhere.
Yeah, something like that.
It wouldn't surprise me, but yeah, no, like I say, it's it looks like a lot of figures I have when I on my video that I've done with it. Don't get me wrong; it probably took me about a week to paint each army from start to finish.
Which you used to get a plastic army box which had a lot in it, didn't it?
Yeah. So I probably got equivalent. So just trying to work it out. I probably got about 40 tanks aside, probably about 400, 500 infantry, and a couple of Titans. So there's enough there. I think it worked out about 5,000 points aside, and for Epic, that's quite a bit.
What's a standard game?
The game. I play for the game. Well, it depends again, because it works in all different sort of scales. So you can do it in 2,000, 2,500. Then the bigger games tend to be like your 5,000 to 10,000 point side of things. But we played I think it was 3,000 point game on a 4x4, and it worked absolutely fine. There was no issues with it being on a 4x4. We did like a hidden deployment thing, which was really cool. So I would write down where I'm just going to put my units on a bit of paper. He'd do the same for his size. Then we just stick it all on the table. So it ended up being like Titans versus bikes on the other side.
right.
So it's good. Do you know what I mean? It's just a good
blind matchups.
Yeah, blind matchups. It's something a little bit different. But like Callum said, I like the idea of controlling a whole company of Space Marines instead of just like a squad of them. So like when I played, I had the Imperial Fist company. I had enough for the whole company. So it was, and this is like old school. So yeah, heresy sort of time. Loving it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're meant to have like 100 Marines 1,000 Marines in a chapter in it.
Yeah.
And when are you realistically going to be able to afford 1,000 Space Marines at 28 mil? Plus tanks and everything.
Yeah, you can at 6, definitely. It's definitely
doable. It's doable.
And then it gets even more ridiculous with the guard.
Yeah. Solvent abuse we get. This is a fascinating story. My bro made 2mm Franco-Prussian war armies out of hair curlers, cannons, cavalry, and infantry. Crazy, but it looked the ticket and was a good game. It's like he made cavalry out of hair curlers in 2mm.
It's crazy.
I can't even fathom what that looks like. I need to see a picture.
Stephen Smith, the channel, he's done 2mm ancients, and it's like blocks of like milliput where he scored lines in and then painted dots on to be the representative color. And from 3 foot away, it looks fine.
Yeah. Rosie Raccoon in the house. Jay Bizzle's better half. Titanic is outrageous cost per model, but when you break it down, it's far cheaper than 40k. Easily costs $1,000 to have a decent army for 40k. Oh, absolutely. I think that there's something. I mean, it's a bit of a theme that we keep coming back to, though. Is I think who says that the 2,000 point game of 40k is the way that 40k should be played, and why do we accept that?
Yeah, it's tournaments.
I think,
tournaments.
For me, the 2,000 point game is too big, it's too clunky, it's too slow, it takes far too long. Don't enjoy it. One side has utterly crushed the other within a turn and a half, but it's going to take us 8 more hours to finish.
Yeah,
I actually think 40k is a massively better game below 40 power, below 1,000 points, half that size.
Yeah,
and on a smaller table. The bigger the army, the bigger the idiosyncrasies that this is a little bit better than this. That just scales up and scales up as you get a higher points value. Yeah. And what we found is you play a 500, 750 point game, it's a scrum that anyone can win.
Yeah.
And I think if you play in comic book science fiction, which is what Warhammer is, I'm sorry, if you don't accept that, I can't help you. But that we fight with chainswords to defeat power armor. This is not serious. This is not realistic or credible. It's comic book.
Doesn't believe in the God Emperor. That's heresy. That's heresy. Heresy.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like that. That's all their story and stuff. But as a game, I think it takes
definitely,
really seriously, and YouTube has got a lot to explain for that, because we really push that really competitive narrative. That's what's covered, so that's what people watch. That's what people think they want to play. But our experience is much, much better games when they're smaller. But actually, with almost all the games that we play, we found smaller is better.
750 for bolt actions, superb.
Compared to 1,000, yeah.
750 is really good, and you can still get a tank in 750 if you want a tank and a little elite like German squad. So like you want a Panther and a couple of squads just to do stuff. You can do sort of things like that if you want to. But I found that bolt action is definitely better with infantry over vehicles. Tank war is definitely where it's at if you want to play vehicles, tank on tank. But
it's tank on tank when you got one each. It is really dicey, right? Really dicey.
Who's going to get the dice?
Who's bringing their tank on first? Because they're going to lose. Or however that goes.
Just say one of the things about
1,000 points, but only with the bigger tanks. If you're playing 1,000 points, bring the Churchill, bring the Tiger. Otherwise, let's play a smaller game.
Yeah.
Sorry, Callum.
No, I was going to say one of the things with the smaller scales as well, though, that's good, is because you can collect so much more. We've had games where we've not done points. We've just looked at each other's armies and goes, yeah, that looks about right.
Yeah.
Based on what's on the table. Yeah, that looks, Yeah. And then they were probably completely unbalanced. But because we had so many spare models in our cases, we could just go, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. That is definitely a Martin, that. he doesn't use points for black powder. And I'll be honest with you, I quite like that as well. I quite like just matching like what you think. Oh yeah, you've got two units of old guard there, so you could have grenadier guards and some Scots guards as well. Yeah, they might not be as good, but you know, a bit of fluff, you know.
Yeah, and I think that though has a lot to do with who you game with and where you game, isn't there?
Yeah.
I understand. If you know, some of us are fortunate that we have not only clubs or club settings, but we have a group of friends, trusted friends with whom we can play that way.
Yeah.
And I get quite evangelical about that being the way to play, but I realize that that's just not available to some people. If your experience of wargaming is booking 1,000-point game of bolt action with somebody you barely talk to in a club, if that then you need that structure. And I guess I sometimes forget that. That those structures are quite important for pickup games, club games, shop games, leagues, you know, all of those kind of things. Without them, you can't just turn up at the table with somebody that you don't have that strong relationship with, and where you're not playing to get the win today as well. I sometimes overlook that is important, and we're often quite positive about club settings. In a club setting, if you're going to play all kinds of people, you do kind of need those things, I guess.
Dom uses points, to be fair. You know, when I played against Dom, he uses points, and it still works just as well. It's just one of those things. It just depends.
I meant to check up with Dom because he seems to, from his videos, he very much paints an army and then moves on to the next thing.
Yeah.
As a lot of us, we like add things to the armies that we've already got.
Once it's done.
He's like, I'm done now and I'm going to move on.
New project sort of thing. Dom bases it a lot on what he plays. So if he's playing something, he'll paint a lot for it. Like he did his Oathmark stuff when we had a game of Oathmark. He just painted all his Oathmark stuff because we were going to play it. So, and then he just moves to whatever's next. So he's done his victories at seas, like I've done victory at seas. I can't wait to play that. I really am looking forward to playing that.
I think you need a lot of space, you know.
Yeah.
I had a look at it and I got the tape measure out and thought, this thing can cross my lounge floor in 5 moves. I ain't got the space for this.
No. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'll give it a go. I've painted all those bloody British warships. I want to use them.
Yeah. What are they? Obviously, Johnny B's not allowed to handle resin warships. But how did you find their? I haven't seen them, but I saw their aircraft on their flight stands, and I've got to say I wasn't that impressed.
No, they were a bit fiddly. Don't get me wrong, and the cleanup was a bit of a pain in the ass. They're not as well detailed as I would have liked in regards to quality control wise. But again, I don't know if that's down to the resin type, because I know there was a big old controversial about the spun resin and the white resin, and I think they're the spun resin, but I can't say that for sure. But it's they're not too bad for what they are. I just wish they were probably scaled up a little bit bigger. What's that? That is a big ship.
In the comments, which battleship is that?
I really want to say it's American. I'm probably
going to go Turpits, but
no.
You guys are betraying a massive lack of knowledge there. That is definitely not an American one. It's a very distinctive British warship. One of two, a class of 2. Anyone know in the comments?
Hood.
No,
definitely not.
No.
I'm just guessing now.
Just name some ships you've heard of. Bring it back, John. I'm gonna let me learn them off. Bring it back.
But actually, I think the 2 I named have both been sunk. So
Tech Saints 50% chance of being right. There we go. There's at least someone is educated. Show them the ship, John. Show them the ship.
Oh man, just put it back. I'm getting it.
Is it Rodney or Nelson? I think it's Rodney, but I couldn't tell you the difference.
It's going to be the Rodney. This is my father got this as a gift, and he put most of it together. I finished off putting a little bit on it and sprayed it. But yeah, so because he's called Rodney.
Can you turn her so that the deck is facing the camera? And I'll educate these young people. Mary Rose says solvent abuse. Look, see how most of the ship is forward of the control tower. All three triple 16-inch turrets are forward. There's very little superstructure aft of the bridge. Really, really distinctive HMS Rodney. The machinery and so forth on her is very limited. She's very slow for a battleship of her age because she is a treaty warship. Between the two wars, there were limitations on warship building. You can't build them above a certain size, etc. So what you end up with Nelson and Rodney are two rather weird-looking ships with 16-inch guns that have had to be massively altered from their design phase to fit within these treaty restrictions.
Yeah.
The Japanese and the Germans and the Italians got around it by just lying about how much the ships weigh. So, it's like, oh, hang on, there's other ways of doing it.
Typical British thing, we follow the rules to the letter.
I've only got one warship fact.
Oh, go on, Lynn.
We have the oldest serving warship in the world.
Yeah, I drove past it the other day.
Victory.
Yeah. It's still the flagship of the first.
Yeah,
so it's the oldest one in the world.
One Ark Royal. Look at that. Ark Royal's an aircraft carrier, for goodness sake.
I've been winding you up now.
Yeah, they're just winding me up. I know the other ship was called Del Boy. If it can, it will be sinking soon. Anyway. So naval warfare then, chaps. Naval warfare. I like me a tall sailor and a handsome ship. But what about you, Callum?
I haven't really done much naval. I mean, I've done lots of spaceship stuff, so I could imagine doing naval. But I'd want to do oak and iron, and I just don't want to be doing the rigging.
Yeah.
That's the long and the short of it.
Some of us have tried to rig Black Sea ships, and it's not an experience we're going to repeat. What about you, John?
Me?
Yeah.
Why would you water?
You don't like the water?
No.
You're like a cat.
No.
You're like, oh, not in there.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you something I did have. I can't remember. I think it might have even been WizKids, but you used to be able to get these little pirate ships, and they come in like a little foil packet, like football cards. It was called Pirates. And you get a ship in there. I've still got some. And you pop them out and you put them together, and they just all click together like cards. And you got 3 masts or 2 masts or whatever. And you get crew cards and everything else. And it's a really simple game. That is the closest I've got to naval warfare. If anybody remembers it, just called Pirates, please mention it, because it was I've just realised I'm Ginger 1.
You are. I mean, renamed it to Ginger 1 and Ginger 2, obviously.
I mean,
I didn't tell them I'd done it as well. The intros, I just did a bit of quick retype there.
I've only just noticed. But yeah, no, I'd like to do some, but I do worry about the complexities or, how difficult it is. I've seen you play, was it Black Sails with...
Black Seas, yeah.
Black Seas with the Bishop, and that looked quite... I don't know if it looked quite technical from when you were playing it. You got to know where the wind's coming from. You got to do this. You got to do that.
You do and you don't. I mean, it seems technical, but it's pretty straightforward. Okay. The difficulty, partly here because you can't go all the way around the table either. So you can't kind of stand where the wind is going and look at which way. The logical thing that you would do to work these things out. It's where you've got a table edge that's one angle, you've got a ship at another, and a wind at a third angle. The brain can get confused. Yeah. If you just stand in the direction the wind's coming from and look at the ship, it's very easy to say whether it is or isn't sailing into the wind.
Just here you come, isn't it?
Yeah. It's disorientating. The mechanics in it were very, very simple. Roll 2 dice and hit on 5s kind of system. Do 2 damage. Triple damage if it's raking. Very simple mechanics. I think the problem with Age of Sail gaming in general is to try and create something that's interesting. And I do sadly fear that it is a game that without a point system might not be much of a game, or without a scenario, like many games, that forces you to disperse your force. That's one of that's the problem, because you certainly haven't got the space in your house to have two separate squadrons on the table fighting two separate squadrons. You need a massive amount of space to do that. So you kind of inevitably blob in the middle.
And it's not like it's exactly a fast-paced age. You know, you look at Trafalgar, it took a long time for them to close.
Well, Trafalgar, we were to some extent sailing into the wind.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you were to play that turn for turn, it would take a long time to play that game.
It took hours to get into action. Yeah, absolutely. Victory may be the oldest serving ship in the world, but the USS Constitution can still sail on her own accord. I believe the USS Constitution and the Victory and the Kotisark and many like them are the ship of Theseus, though, aren't they? There isn't a single splinter on board any of those ships that's original, I don't think, because they're hundreds of years old.
Certainly not the Kotisark.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Patrick O'Brien books for Age of Sail, very good. Yep. Tony Halton's still got a fair bit of the pirate stuff. That's what you were talking about, wasn't it, John?
Oh, yeah.
Pirates of the Spanish Main by WizKids.
That's it. I love that game.
Okay, house rules for orcs attacking each other. Does that count as naval? Well, I was thinking more at sea. But I've always liked naval warfare. I've always found ships, naval warfare interesting because I feel it's as a tactical and an operational experience, it's a bit cleaner because there isn't terrain. Decisions are much more important, and so it appeals to me. But I always find that in terms of their execution, it's very difficult to have a playable game unless you completely abandon history and ships all go wherever they want and do whatever they want. If I sail in a line and you sail in a line alongside me and we roll dice and eventually someone is declared the winner, that isn't much of a game.
Yeah.
Is the problem. But that's how they fought. That's what they did. How do you make a game out of that? Yeah. And I do wonder. I've wondered about looking at these things similarly with ancient battles, looking at some more board game type mechanics rather than war game type mechanics to simulate a bit more what generals actually do and admirals do. The admirals decide which is the point at which when we close, which is the point at which we don't. More higher level choices and a bit less kind of in the way of combat mechanics. But anyway, because I think the problem I have with naval war games is I often like the models, I love the period, but I find the game a bit underwhelming just because of the way they fought. Thousand Backs is pretty good. The games are quick and dynamic. Just the rigging is a bitch. Yeah, the ones where you had to like rob a ship in the middle and stuff like that. I think the scaffolded scenarios were pretty good. I had Fuzzy Felt's Ocean Sea set. I've come close to naval action. John, mate, you've got kindred spirit there. Fuzzy Felt. Can you still even get that?
You must be able to get some sort of
just put a smile
version of Fuzzy Felt.
Fuzzy Felt.
So if you want a good campaign, you could always replay the Hornblower ones because there's not exactly many ships in any of those. Quite often it's one-on-one.
About Fuzzy Felt. All right.
Fuzzy Felt conversation. We are. You just completely shut Callum up now, haven't you? That's hard, man. He's stopped talking.
Sorry.
Boom. I'm going to take this opportunity to just say, for those of you with more money than sense and more space in your house than I have that would like to buy a product from us to help fund the YouTube channel, 2 new products today in the store include the Bolt Action Paratrooper British Airborne Army. That is £50 and we'll post it to you in the UK. And a bit of a sneak peek of Friday's video, Team Yankee West German. Woo!
Ooh, finally.
This is brand new, just came today. We're going to do an unboxing video. Because we're on our own these days for another week. Unboxing video that's to come out on Friday. So, modern warfare. Let's talk about some of the more difficult stuff. Modern warfare in war games. Some people are happy to do it. A lot of people don't like to do it. I'm certainly a lot less comfortable talking to like colleagues at work or whatever. So what do you do? And saying, I paint toy soldiers. And Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a bit geeky or whatever. Saying, I refight the Iraq War. No, they're less happy with that. That's a bit more uncomfortable, isn't it? Perhaps because it's within living memory to a much greater extent. I feel that kind of, for me, enough time has passed to be looking at Cold War stuff and be ready to fight those kind of fantasy scenarios, the what ifs, East German rebellion, whatever, something like that. But it is a more difficult topic, especially when you start talking about Middle East and stuff. But these problems, they're still there today, aren't they? These problems, they're not going away. These same conflicts are largely unresolved. But where do you stand on modern war games, Callum?
I mean, I've never really been massively inclined towards them past the First World War, to be honest with you.
Right.
Occasionally I get a twinge to do Vietnam, but that's just when I've usually just watched We Were Soldiers.
Okay.
Bit of aircraft. But no, I mean, I don't know. I feel that's about as modern as I feel inclined to do. Maybe with the start of the trivesta of aircraft and land and artillery, you know. So, and the sort of the start of tanks and stuff. I think it's just because I don't like painting tanks, and they play a much bigger role after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's millions of guys on the Eastern Front in Russia would say that they never saw a tank for a year. But that's not how we remember or refights at World War II. But that horse-drawn army that invaded the Soviet Union was mostly not tanks and mostly not trucks.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to do modern war, I'd probably do the Anzacs and like Gallipoli and stuff.
Right, because you want the corks dangling down from the hats. Legit Kiwis and Australians. Johnny B, I have forced you to play a little bit of Team Yankee. Where you how do you feel about more modern warfare? Because like you were pretty much a Warhammer and bolt action, which is Warhammer World War II, until I sort of pulled you to try other things.
That was pretty much it. From a gaming perspective, awesome. It's cool trying new things. I'm indifferent, dare I say it. From a sort of ethical point of view, I'm also indifferent.
But not insensitive, perhaps.
Not insensitive, but yes, I don't have a problem with it, but I can see why some people do. You touched on that there. I can imagine some people would find it maybe a little bit insensitive to play World War II games, dare I say, you know, glorifying of such a horrible thing that happened. That's a really tricky one. That could actually go quite deep. I don't know.
We're not that deep. Okay.
No.
Yeah. No, I do. I think though it is something about the further back it is, the more comfortable we are with that aspect of it. You know, we can talk about a massacre in Roman times with complete impartiality.
Yeah.
Whereas we can't. Yeah, nobody is queuing up to fight a game, to play a game this weekend where like you've got 6 Palestinian guys and a rocket battery, and I've got an Israeli gunship trying to find them. You know, no one wants to play that game, and there's a reason for that. And obviously that's like the 2 extremes, but there's still the impact, the influence. You know, there is a sensitivity around wargaming that I think we're kind of unconsciously aware of. And it does influence our choices. I just wonder where, like, I think for different people, that place in history is in a different place.
Yeah. So
do you think? Do you think the positive emotion behind stuff sometimes plays into that as well? So I think a lot of people would feel, certainly in this country, happy to do the Battle of Britain because obviously it's a very positive thing. You know, the Spitfire is a massive bit of propaganda, that sort of thing. Whereas composed to something maybe that's got much more negative connotation to it.
There's no shortage of people that refight sort of Costa's last stand though, as Costa, and he's definitely the bad guy in this story who gets his comeuppance. And Ken, anyway, let's make sure you're the guest, right? You're here. We can talk whenever.
No, I was going to say, I was talking about this actually last night, which is really weird.
Really?
Yeah. We spoke about it last night about a bit of modern stuff, and yeah, I don't know. I've got a real itch for like the Second Iraq War, so like warriors and our troops against the Taliban. And I don't know why that is, and I thought about it before, probably about a year ago, and I thought, you know what, I wouldn't want to play that now, but I don't know what it is right now. I think that's about as high as I would go. But
Yeah.
Sorry, not Taliban. What am I saying? Afghanistan. I'm thinking of like 2005, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Taliban. Yeah.
Yeah, Taliban. Yeah. So
in Afghanistan, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think I'd have an issue playing with it, to be honest. I know quite a bit about my modern sort of soldier stuff, kit, all their kit they use and bits and bobs like that. So yeah, I don't think I'd have an issue with it. Just depending on who I was playing against. If they don't mind, then I don't mind, to be honest.
Well, yeah, true. I'm still that again.
So it is
true fact. Sorry, just to clip in on the modern warfare thing. I read an article in the news recently that the British Army, although it's reducing its tank force from 200 odd to 148, we are getting a Challenger 3.
Yes, we
are.
I watched the video on that today.
There's videos out there, is there?
Yeah, there's.
I got well excited.
They showed it off,
and then I read the article, and it was like, yeah, well, what we're actually going to do is we're going to get the Challenger 2s right, and we're going to put a fridge in them, and and that'll do. Sorted.
Yeah, we're gonna change the gun to a smoothbore.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, the British Army is not good at adopting a new gun, so that is real progress. If it's going to get a genuinely new gun, that's an unexpected change.
Yeah.
So Bob Edwards touching on a point that's problematic for me as well. It took a long time to get around to buying Waffen SS, let alone using them in a game of bolt action. So I kind of, for me, I don't buy into the clean hands of the Wehrmacht argument either, by the way. The German army is knee deep in the blood of civilians just as much as Bomber Command in Britain is. And, nobody's got a clean pair of hands in this conflict. And that's the tragedy of it. But the Waffen SS are definitely significantly worse than everybody else, just about.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was just, I can just choose not to play them. I'm not criticizing you for playing. For me, the role-playing aspect of what I'm doing in the narrative aspect is an important part of the game experience. And for me, I'm just not comfortable being one of these commanders. That's not the role I want to take. Now, I'll run into a problem there when you want to refight Normandy, though, because about half the tank formations in Normandy are SS.
Yes.
And if you want to fight on this beach or in this area, then the enemy are Waffen SS. If you want to do the Battle of the Bulge, they're SS Panzer divisions under Sepp Dietrich. You cannot escape the fact that these are SS formations. And I've had to kind of come to terms with that a little bit. And if I want to fight these battles, then I'm going to have to play this guy. And it's interesting, the thing that I've kind of had to overcome, because I do want to. That's probably where the line is saying I don't want to. I'm not comfortable choosing to play these.
Yeah.
But I'm not choosing. I'm choosing to refight an important battle, and these guys are an important part of the formations involved in that. If I want to do this phase of that battle, i.e., the King Tigers breaking the line, that is an SS thing. There's no escaping that. In the same way as if I want to fight Arnhem, I've got to have paratroopers. It doesn't matter whether I like them or not. They're what's there.
They're there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. What have the Romans ever done for us? Yeah, well, let's not go into recounting that whole sketch.
Got pizza, didn't we?
Yeah,
pizza. That's the Colosseum, mate. All the good stuff.
Yeah.
And Gallipoli.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the same with the Russians, isn't it? With their NKVD squads, some people find that that's a big no playing NKVD and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's down to the individual, isn't it? And
and I think what's also important with this stuff, like anything, is we've got to be sensitive to other people's feelings. Just because I'm comfortable with it doesn't mean that you are. I need to be sensitive to that. And that you know, as long as we all behave like human beings, kind to one another, I think we're probably okay. Anzacs in Gallipoli, though, is really interesting. By the way, for the First World War was my principal area of interest. It just rarely makes for good wargaming, unfortunately. The official historian for the Australian New Zealand Army Corps was a chap called C.E.W. Bean, and he was a newspaper man. So a lot of the stories about Gallipoli and this kind of emerging national identity of Australia in particular, but New Zealand as well in part, he's very much got a mission to kind of create a national mythology here. And if that's the official, he wrote the official record of what they did. You know, you need to be a little bit skeptical about that, more than because he was trying to push a narrative. And so there's a lot of stuff around Gallipoli about stupid British officers and heroic Australian soldiers. Thinking you only need to think about this for about 10 seconds. I think that's a really easy criticism to make, but actually, all of their officers were actually Australians. So let's rethink this a little bit. I'm not saying the guy in overall charge, there were some British commanders, but fundamentally there were Australian officers making those stupid decisions, because everybody can make stupid decisions. I really like it in fictional setting, Weird War 2. Kaiju. I don't know what kaiju is. Tell me what kaiju is.
Japanese monster, big monster.
Oh, Godzilla, that kind of thing. Godzilla.
Yeah.
Right. So why is it called kaiju rather than Godzilla variants?
Yeah, it's the whole. Sorry, go on, Johnny.
Go on, Callum. All yours, mate. I have a feeling you're going to know a lot more about this and tentacles than I am.
I was going to say, it's my understanding that it's all those large beasts. It's just Godzilla's the most famous.
Boom. There you go.
Yeah. Well, like Mothra and all that sort of jazz.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like
it comes across a lot of anime as well. So
yeah.
Yes.
Bob Edwards. I like 40K because it's made up and has no real bearing on the 21st century. It's absolutely one of the great advantages of the fictional setting is these people can be as horrific as you like, but it is entirely make believe, and that's definitely a challenge the historical gamer doesn't have to face. Yeah, and we love to play fantasy bad guys. Somebody's collect the bad guys depending on how you see stuff. Yeah, maybe some of it is just about how self-reflective I am. When we started doing the American Civil Wars, like I'm taking a confession. I played the Nazis in World War II, and I'm playing the slave states in this. I need to think about how I'm going to come across during it, because that's not the reason I've got these armies. But I need to make sure that it doesn't look like that, you know. Because I understand if I'm going to play American Civil War and I'm going to stick the Confederate battle flag on the table, that is deeply offensive to some people. Now, I'm not going to hide from it in the same way as I'm not going to hide from the swastika, because we're recreating history here, and that's what it was and that's what it is, and we have to take it warts and all. But I was a little bit concerned about, it's like, so I always seem to be picking the really bad guys, do I? The really dodgy, bigoted, you know, like, no, I'm not. That's not me.
Just out of interest, Ken, why did you pick French? Oh, I'm asking for a reason here.
Oh, right, yeah, no. The main reason was because I knew my main opponent's going to be Dom, and Dom's mainly got British, so his bigger force is British, and Martin's got a British force as well, but that and plus I really wanted to annoy Dom because he doesn't like French Napoleonics.
But he's built himself a French army that's not French, and it's becoming more French, isn't it? He's got like, okay, I've got these core German units.
I'm just waiting for his first one. I'm just waiting for his first unit just to come on the table.
He moves up to the division and he's like, oh, some of these units are a bit French. He's like, yeah, well, by the time you get to the core, a lot of them are going to be French, aren't they?
Yeah, as soon as he gets an eagle, as soon as one of those eagles goes on, that's it.
Right,
so
that's it. That's the moment.
That's the moment. So he can't do the Irish because I've done the Irish as well. So
right. Well, I mean, the other thing is it's quickly gobble up all the other things that he might go for next, forcing him into just making straight up French. Yeah. I mean, there's something terribly English about hating on the French, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, and we haven't been at war with the French for at least a week, but we still despise them.
I don't know when there's some boats blockading somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, did you see that?
Yeah.
But we sent a gunboat though, right? And that sorted it out.
Two gunboats.
Yeah, you see, that's how you do it. I lived on the Isle of Wight for a while, and when I went down to the south side of the island, my mobile phone, I was being routed to a French telephone mast, and I was like, we should shell that. We should. That's in the good old days. That's not allowed to happen. I don't care that it's nearer. That's not acceptable.
No.
Should send some Marines to go and trash it or something.
Yeah, take it out.
Absolutely. Take it down.
Funny.
I used to play a jet in the West Side Story. Was dance fighting racist bad guy. Axe, mate. That is it. You are a social pariah. Boots on the table with Dom says never happening. That's in relation to his increasingly French core, I think.
Yes.
Definitely gonna happen. Guys, we are like moments to go. And where do we get to with our hobby progress, ladies and gentlemen?
Hello.
I've got most of the base. You can't really see it. Most of the base colours down on the tank. Probably get a wash on it tomorrow.
Nice.
Very nice, Mr. Johnny B.
I've gone a few more steps than the pictures that you have on your computer. Hint.
No,
hint.
I'm not ready. Okay. No.
There we go. It's blue. It's got red bits. I've done it like 2nd edition Dreadnought. Whee!
Nice.
Yeah. I needed reminding of that fact when we had that half-hour pre-show meeting.
I just remembered myself.
Yeah, you're right. That was days ago. I completely forgot. Ken, where'd you get up to?
I got a few of these guys built, like proper mold line removal. So they're pretty much done. But the Blood God will be pleased because there has been a lot of blood. So, so yeah.
Nice.
All right. So from next week, guys, things look like they're going to change. We can hug and kiss. We can have up to 5-6 people over to do group activities. It's all looking quite interesting. We don't have to go outside to do our group activities. And what that means is from next week, you should start to see battle reports from us. We're going to kick off strongly with bolt action because we know we did a little poll. As we weren't terribly surprised to see that bolt action was very popular. We know it's a good game. So we will probably be moving back quite soon to our older system of having something on a Wednesday, like an unboxing or a hobby update or something, and a game on Friday. Whether you'll see your first game next Friday or the Friday after, but certainly we're going to start recording from Monday. We are going to be recording battle reports because we're a battle report channel fundamentally. We'll still have the live show on Tuesday because we've got guests booked in for the next several times, but just exactly what the channel delivers over the next few months and then for the rest of the year, it might sort of move around a little bit. We've experimented with a few things in lockdown with that live D&D session. We've been doing this live show. And we're going to be looking at the numbers and seeing the way, we still want to do this, but do we want to do it every week? Probably, but we're going to take some views on that. So before we go, Ken, why don't you remind the beautiful people at home who you are, what you do, where they can find you, and all that kind of.
Yep, so Ken from Miniature Wargaming Warriors. You can check me out on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, just Miniature Wargaming Warriors on there. We've got a Facebook group for the Plastic Crap Podcast, so just search the Plastic Crap Podcast. You must answer Dom's 3 questions, otherwise there is no entry. And I've also got my own Facebook group as well, so Miniature Wargaming Warriors as well. So, yeah.
All right, guys, it's a great channel, great stuff. Hoping to see some battle reports from you soon. And the progress on this English Civil War army. I'm almost tempted by English Civil War myself. I think I'd do Covenanters, though, if I was going to do it. So I think I'd want to do Bishop's War. And I just like the fiery Protestantism idea. It's like, clearly we are righteous. We're the right ones. We know what we're about. You know, we need to change things. We need to burn these heathens and re-Christianize the kingdom. Clear mandate, and a bit of English hating mixed in with it. You know, it's just like they clearly they know what they're about. Yeah, and I think they'd be really easy to paint because they're into their plain clothes and everything.
Yeah, exactly. What's easy to paint? Get them on the table.
Get them on the table. Yeah, so that was final remarks from us. Rosie Raccoon says, "You're the one that I want." That's Greece, not West Side Story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that what we are?
She has put a question mark there.
Yeah.
Covenanters can fight every other, and they've fought as mercenaries in Europe, I think, repeatedly. Yeah. But they do have a cavalry problem, I think. They don't have proper horses. Axe and Axe says, "Happy Taco Tuesday. Take care all." All right, guys, that's all from us. It wasn't the topic. I didn't expect to spend as long talking about playing bad guys as we did. It may have been a topic. We weren't entirely comfortable with it, and you probably weren't all that comfortable with it either. I think it's an important thing to think about, but let's not lose any sleep over it. We're all good people here. Love you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.